were born in Halifax, I presume?
Yes, I was born in Crossley Terrace. I was born in the terrace in 1928, and it was a small terraced house. There were quite a lot of us at home, double figures actually, and I slept in the attic. I never slept anywhere else except in the attic until I got married. I slept in the bedroom then, of course. And after that, I began work. I left school at 14, and then an apprentice, of course. And I wasn't too bad at drawing and what have you, and I had a steady hand, of course. Now, after that, of course, it was all work, wasn't it?
So your drawing was you learnt that at school, that you were good at drawing and sketching and.
Well, at the art school, there was different sections. There were drawing, plain. There was painting, and then we did take graining and sign writing, of course. Broken colours, which of course meant marbling and such forth.
Oh, right.
And it was quite interesting. We had some jolly good teachers, and they were very good craftsmen, and I'm indebted to that. After that, of course, later on at 21, of course, I think, well, I thought I was the bee's knees again, didn't I? So
Well, you do at 21, don't you?
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
So did the war have any impact on your career, or did you have to?
No, I don't think so, because I was in the age group where the government decreed that they must, post-war, have a gang of workmen ready to build and include decorating, and so actually I was, providing I was still at the art school, which I was, providing I was still further in education, the people in the building trade were not called up till they were 21 years of age, and served their apprenticeship.
Okay.
That's true.
That's true. So I mean, I don't know about Halifax itself. Was that damaged a lot at wartime?
Well, actually, at the end of Crossley Terrace,
where you were
that's
born.
where the bomb dropped
Right.
in 1940. And I was in the scout hut at St Augustine's Church. And we were in the scout hut, and the bomb dropped, I think, approximately about 10 minutes past 8 at night.
Yeah.
And everything was chaos then, of course. I think there were 2 or 3 people killed. One was a butcher's apprentice, by the way, and he was waiting at the bus stop. And I do know that he got blown to smithereens. The bomb dropped just at the side of the St John's Hospital, which was not an hospital. It was at one time, but it was an asylum and for a workhouse, basically.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Wow. Right, so tell me from about 14 years old onwards what you were working and where you were living. And
Yes. Well, I left school at 14 years of age, of course, and then I became an apprentice painter and decorator. I went to the art school part-time until I was 21 years of age, and we did very well at the art school, and the firm where I served my time, we had some very, very good work and good craftsmen, and so I learned a lot from them. And I was the Apprentice of the Year in 1948 at the Halifax Art School, and I got a second prize in the north of England, besides for varnishing, colour matching and proper painting. That was that. Now after that I thought I was the bee's knees, didn't I? So I left the firm and I tried one or two little what is it, but they always welcomed me back. I think I went back 4 times, and they always welcomed me back because there was always work available. Now, later on, when I was 26, I went working on exhibitions, and I worked for this firm of exhibition people and travelled up and down, worked all over on the motor show, the flower show, Arrogate show, you name it. And we also did a lot of shop fitting as well, so we worked on shop fitting, and it was all very good. We also did an exhibition for the Queen before she went on tour to New Zealand and Australia in 1956. That was when the Royal Yacht Britannia came up the Tees, and we did an exhibition at Middlesbrough, and I have a photo of the actual part of the exhibition, what we saw. That was for the Queen. Needless to say, I had by that time, I met a certain lady, and travelling, it was a real man's job really, because we worked some very long hours, but the pay was excellent. And of course then I met my good lady, and she'd seen a ring in Irving Ingalls at Halifax, and I was working away, so I gave her some money and she bought this ring. I never went in the jeweller's shop with her, of course, and that was that. So we got married the following February, and by that time I went back to the old firm, and they also welcomed me back with open arms. By then, of course, my family, the first child was on the way, and so I thought, right, I'll give it a go and I'll start business on my own account, which I did do, and that was in 1959.
Right.
And henceforth I worked for myself for 32 years, and I had quite a good connection, a very good connection. I never advertised, and that was it. As far as I know, I had to retire because my shoulders gave way, and the specialist said you'll never work again, and I never did. So I'm very pleased that I've had 25 years of retirement, and that's it. I can't tell you any more.
That's good.
Right, well, these 2 doors, they came from just when was Asda, the other side of that. They were on sale, and they were £56 a piece. They are solid mahogany doors, and you were only allowed 1 per person. Now then, I took my wife with me, so she bought 1 and I bought 1, and that's what happened. Of course, if you look, I finish them off in my own, little way. They're not polished, they're actually varnished. They're bleached just a little bit with the sun, but apart from that, they have not been touched since the house was built.
So tell me about the weaving houses.
Well, There's quite a lot round here, but the two next door to me, you can look at the back and you can see where they took the looms in, and they also took the materials and brought the materials out when finished.
Right.
There is a little misnomer, of course, that the looms were on the top floor.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Well, that isn't the case. The looms were on the middle floor, and the sleeping quarters for the family were on the top floor. That's it, you see.
Right.
Now,
So they had them in the back because of the light, is that correct?
that's right. You can see where the lights have been blocked off as well. Of course, in those days there were no electric or gas, of course. It was all, well,
So
I don't know how they saw in those days. Did you?
no dear at all.
I don't.
So give me some idea of the history of this particular toll house and why it comes to be called a toll house.
Well, in days of old, of course, all roads were private, weren't they? So, in order to maintain the roads, they used to have a toll, and this particular toll house was at Martin Green, which of course it's now demolished, but there used to be a toll house, and it's still there at Copley, and the road used to come from Copley up the hill on what they call the Moor Bottom, and just at the top a little twist down to Martin Green. Then from Martin Green it went down to the bottom. There wasn't a road then. Saddleworth Road wasn't built till 1836. So it meandered its way down to what they call the Gatehead, and there is still, from Gatehead, working its way up to Stainland. It is still there, and it is a right of way now. You can do that.
And they used to bring cattle up through there, or just they used to bring cattle or sheep?
Oh yes.
Livestock?
Well, I would say cattle. I don't think they'd be bringing pigs. There'd be sheep and cattle.
Yeah, sheep.
Yes. They would have to pay a toll because, of course, there was one large gate where the three posts were and one small gate. To providing you were still walking without anything, of course, there was no charge.
Yeah.
There was also another toll house, and it was very well known, and that was on Sowerby Bridge on Wakefield Road, and there are old photos of that. That was a very big and a busy toll house. Right.
So when you bought this
Yes.
toll house, I guess it needed a bit of work to get it into its current.
Well, when I bought the toll house, I was thinking of retirement, and first of all, we put plans in, and they said, "Oh, you can't extend it." It wasn't, by the way, it wasn't. What shall we say? Preserved. It wasn't. There wasn't a preservation order on it.
Not listed or anything.
No, it wasn't listed. Now, we could have got a grant, providing that the outside was using the ashlar. It was built of ashlar on two sides, ashlar stone. We would have to put the ashlar back as it was. Well, of course, that was ridiculous because it was basically only one room.
Yeah.
And so we put the plans in then, and then to build it as it is now. And I think we made not a bad job of it, really. we knew we had to build it of second-hand stone. We used some of the stone what we demolished the toll house with, but that was it. Like on the toll house, there were originally 2 chimneys. If you look on old photos, you can see that the chimney, like most toll houses, was in the middle on the roof, and in order to get a proper draft, the occupants, I should say, in probably 1870, something like that, they did away with that, and they built a chimney at the side, much higher, and a bigger draft. There was only the cooking facilities in the toll house were a cooking range, a coal fire.
Yeah.
That was it.
So it was just one room.
And just one room,
yeah.
and there was an outside privy,
yeah.
and that was it. So our family lived in there. One never knows.
One will never know.
No.
Tell me how many children you have and where they all are and what they're all doing, and grandchildren and all that kind of thing.
Yes, well, I was blessed with 3 children, and the eldest, of course, is Susan, and then along came Gail, and then we had a son, Nicholas. Now, Susan, as it happens, lives opposite me, and she was always into catering. She took an higher national degree at Huddersfield University, and then she left that and she went into the post office, a complete change of direction. Now then, the middle one, Gail, of course, went to Leeds University, and she took languages and business studies, and she got a degree, and then she got married, and she lives just outside Northallerton. She went abroad quite a fair bit in her younger days, but she herself changed direction completely and took this Pilates up, and she seems to have done quite well that. She married, and she has 2 sons. Both of them went to university, and both of them qualified with degrees. Now then, Nicholas, my son, well, he served his time in engineering, and he went to the Tech. He was the apprentice of the year in he was 20 years of age, and he was presented with it. There are photos of him in the career. Now, when he finished serving, he did a lot of, well, like myself, he went and changed his jobs, and he worked on hydraulics. He worked in the shipyards in Greece, in Amsterdam, and he did very well with it. On the reservoirs, on big hydraulic things, he was quite handy with his hands, of course. Then, for some unknown reason, he decided he would go to Australia, which he did do. As you know, you have to come out whether you like it or not after 6 months, but he had a sponsor immediately, and he went straight back at 12 months. He's been there ever since. He's visited many times, and he was a very outdoor man. He was a crack cyclist, and he was also very, very good at canoeing. And at one time he ran a canoeing school he had a coach, he had a Land Rover, and they went all over on the rivers, wild water rafting, and well, actually, when I visited, I made some signs for him, and yeah, which I did do.
Yeah.
I have photos of those. But then he was getting a little bit older, so they used to be up, by the way, at 4 o'clock in the morning, and many a time it was nearly 10 o'clock at night by the time they cleaned up and all what, and gone to bed. In the meantime, he did meet a lady, and eventually they got married. But he decided then that he'd go to engineering back again, so he got a job in the National Laboratory at Canberra, and he worked there till just recently, and he's just taken early retirement, and he's retired now. And that's it.
Brilliant.
That's me, my wife,
Yeah.
Susan,
Oh, we just met you.
Gail,
Yeah.
and Nicholas isn't on because he's in Australia,
Right,
isn't he?
okay.
That's their house up at... That's Gail's house at North Halifax. It's a lovely big lounge. You with me?
Yeah,
It's there's a bit of my work here.
I can see that.
You with me?
Yeah.
I haven't done so bad.
I think my dad left about when he was
The problem is,
14 or something like that.
the problem, well, it isn't a problem, but it could be. It depends how long I live. If money runs out, you know what I mean. I would say probably 2 or 3 years, and I shall have had it, I think.
I hope not. Not at this rate.
Would you like a crisp, or are you all right?
No, I'm all right, thank you.
Yeah,
Are you still filming?
I'm just filming bits and pieces, that's all.
This is what you call off the record, when let it be known when you're not ready and people say.
Well, it's been a most interesting afternoon.
It has, hasn't it?
I'm glad you came down.
Oh, it's
We are.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've met me in the raw now, as you might say.